Welcome everyone to our Sunday conversations. Today I have with me Raquel Machin from Spain, and we are going to talk about exploring prenatal consciousness. Thank you, Raquel, for being with us today.
Thank you for you, Susana. Thank you very much. I'm here. I'm from Spain. Very grateful for being here in your program today. Thank you very much.
So happy that you have accepted our invitation. But before we dive into our topic today, which is very interesting, let the audience know a little bit about yourself.
Well, what can I say about me? I'm Raquel Machin. I think I can tell you my academic background is in music, and my first specialization is in a classical guitarist. But as we are going to show you today, my life and my professional dimension hasn't changed along the time, and now I can say I'm a researcher. And I'm always looking for the manifestations of the prenatal consciousness, and I'm an explorer.
Wow, wonderful. Let me ask you about specifically what inspired you to research into this topic of prenatal consciousness, and why are you involved in it?
Well, my first specialization, as I said, is in as a classical guitarist, and I'm also trained as a primary school teacher. So I've always worked as an educator. But however, throughout my professional journey, I've continued learning and exploring new musical paths and specializations. And the ones that probably touched my soul the most were the trainings I undertook as a prenatal singing facilitator and in Musica in culla, is the Italian word that means music in the cradle. They introduced me to a world I had not known before and made me appreciate the wonderful and extraordinarily valuable nature of the prenatal period and early childhood. And on the other hand, and outside of my professional life, I have always studied and trained in topics related to spirituality and inner development. So, as I was discovering these musical specialties related to motherhood, I experienced my own journey into motherhood. And I was pregnant 6 times, although only 2 of my babies were ultimately able to be born. But however, these experiences, though difficult, were not as traumatic as one might think, because during several of my pregnancies, I had various extrasensory experiences that brought me peace and helped me cope with the losses and in different ways. During my pregnancies, I dreamed several times about my future daughters. And in some dreams, I saw myself holding them in my arms and breastfeeding them. And in another dream, I saw one of them at around 2 years old, running around, smiling joyfully, and hugging her father. So I could see exactly what she looked like, her skin, her hair, her personality. And when she was born, I realized she was exactly as I had dreamed. And these beautiful dreams gave me complete certainty that I was going to have these girls. But, however, there were other very different dreams. In them, I vividly and in full detail saw myself visiting the doctor, the gynecologist, and being told that my baby no longer had a heartbeat. So we could say that I was being warned. Despite the losses I experienced and the dreams that foretold them, I always maintained a very positive attitude throughout my pregnancies because I was completely convinced that I would become a mother. I just had to wait for the right moment to come. So, some years later, in 2023, while I was studying for a master's degree in extrasensory perception, I asked myself whether other women might have had experiences similar to me, and I decided to make it the research topic for my final master's project. As I delved deeper into the research, the project absorbed all my energy and time. I discovered historical precedents and recent studies. I spoke with numerous teachers from the fields of spirituality, science, and philosophy. In search of insights into prenatal consciousness, and eventually, I turned directly to women to ask whether they had experienced extrasensory phenomena during their pregnancies. And the results were remarkably high and completely surprising.
And it's something that a lot of women share and that they talked about with each other.
Yeah, there's something, but I think no, a lot of the research are asking mothers directly. So that was something very strange for me because I asked, why nobody has asked us? Why nobody? So I think I'm going to be the first.
Yeah, and you are right. There are research, but there's not attention. There is not attention that is brought to this matter, because this matter of consciousness within the prenatal realm brings us also to other issues, to ethical issues, for instance. And but this is something that was very dear to you for what you're telling me because of your experience. So what is this research involved?
Well, I prepared a questionnaire with a lot of questions to ask directly the mothers about their experiences. Their experiences in 3 different moments: before being pregnant, during the pregnancy, and a little bit after. And I was looking for the manifestations of the prenatal consciousness, because I think this is the only way now we can find something really we can touch, because it's something very abstract, and maybe we don't have now the methodologies or the technology to find something more. So I thought this could be a good way, and it was just asking directly the mothers a lot of questions about the dreams, about if they were listening something, maybe voices, maybe sounds, if they could see something, if they could feel the presence, and a lot of things more, similar like that. And where I found was very, very remarkable, because the numbers were really, really high. For example, more or less 75% told me that they felt different during the pregnancy. They feel more connected with themselves and with the nature and with the universe. And more or less 43% or something similar, 40% told us that they were dreaming with their future babies, and a lot of them, not only once, more than twice, more than 3 times. So now, well, when we are going to talk about this later, but now I'm going to repeat this research, and I'm going to do it bigger, but we are going to talk about this in 1 minute or two.
Yeah, great. So what was the impact that your first research had so far?
Yes, the research received the highest grade and the research received the highest grade, and a specialized publication immediately expressed interest in publishing the results of my study. The broadcaster and podcast acercateradio.com offered me a program where I could talk about my findings and share the interviews I had conducted with their teachers and masters. A few weeks later, I was inspired to publish them on YouTube as well. And the entire project is called Antes de Nacer. This means before birth. My project is before birth, because everything is going on before birth. And in this moment, the book containing both the research and my personal experience is already with the publisher, being prepared for release.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And please send us, because we will need to do another interview on your book. That would be wonderful. Tell us a little bit more so then about your project to support conscious and spiritual parenthood.
Yes. Well, as I've already mentioned, I'm sharing all the knowledge I've gained and my new research through social media, the podcast, the YouTube channel, and the upcoming book. And I'm also having the opportunity to speak about my work at conferences like yours. Thank you. And I'm preparing new content to support future mothers and families, combining all my expertise as a musician and as an expert in extrasensory prenatal communication. I hope to have it already ready by September or October 2025.
That's great. So what are the future projects and the collaborations that you are planning also on this field? Because this should be something that should not only be within your range, it should be global, right? The more and more people should know about this, and also even projects that are interested in this kind of topics. Maybe you guys could even interact.
Yeah. Besides these projects I'm preparing, there is something very important I would like to do. Over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to meet professionals like you, like doctors, researchers, facilitators, doulas, psychologists, a lot of fantastic professionals from whom I've learned a great deal and with whom I've been able to exchange some ideas. Therefore, I would like to take advantage of these collaborative ties we have established to ask for your help in spreading the new questionnaires I have created to continue the 2023 research. I have reviewed all the questionnaires and translated them into several languages so we can ask many more women around the world about their experiences with extrasensory communication during their pregnancies. I believe this could help us corroborate or not the results of the first study and develop a possible explanation for all these phenomena. I invite all the professionals listening to write to me at email you find now here and shown on the screen, or to visit antesdenacer.com, antesdenacer.com, to work together. That could be the best new for me.
Yeah. Can you share with us some of the conclusions of your research? You shared a little bit that. Can you open up a little bit more on your research? What were the conclusions? And if there was anything that surprised you, or even for women that surprised them in the questions that you made?
Yeah. Well, I think the study is really very big, very, large.
Wow,
Maybe.
large.
So, but I think I I can have some conclusions that we can speak here. Is one of these is the prenatal consciousness exists, and the prenatal, maybe you can tell it a soul, maybe you can tell it consciousness. First of all, is a non-local consciousness. So sometimes this consciousness can communicate with us without a body, without a brain, or without a complete development of the brain, because it's a non-local consciousness. This means that our brain could be just a facilitator or a channel or a filter to manifestate in the material world, in the physical world. But it exists in a way, in some way, before not only the pregnancy, before conception. And here is very important to make a comparison with the phenomena that happens at the end of the life, in the process of the death, where we can find the near-death experiences that are very common. Everybody knows them now, and that are showing us that the consciousness continues after the death, because it's a non-local consciousness and it doesn't die as a physical body. And we have the same at the beginning of the life, at the beginning of the incarnation or the embodiment that other theories can say. So this is for me the most important conclusion. And the way I'm looking for this consciousness is through the manifestations, through the phenomena of communication with the mother, and sometimes with other familiars too, but with the mother mainly. And we have other side that can explain this too. The other side is the prenatal memories, that we have here a lot of professionals that are speaking about them too, because a lot of babies from 2 to 5 or to 6 years are telling us they can't remember their prenatal existence in the uterus or even in other dimensions, other worlds, or other ways of being. So I think this research is important, and I ask everybody to help me to find this and to spread these questionnaires to find more women who can tell us about their experiences.
I know that music is a dear topic for you, as part of your education. Music and singing can support parents and babies during pregnancy and early childhood. Can you talk a little bit about that, about your experience also?
Yes. All forms of communication with our future baby are fundamental. And this is something that, as we already know very well, has been more than proven. Intentional, loving, and warm communication is essential. If we incorporate elements of music into this communication, such as rhythm or melody or lyrics, it can often bring even greater benefits, because music adds relaxant, stimulating, love, or breathing elements. As we know, the fetus hearing develops around weeks 23 or 26, and clearly hear both internal and external sounds from the womb. But it is especially easy for the baby to distinguish the mother's voice above all others. And this is the foundation of prenatal singing, the understanding that the mother's voice is the ideal musical vehicle to communicate with the future baby, providing calm and well-being, physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Raquel. Today we are finished, but I promise that we are going to connect again.
I'm sure. Thank you very much for your viewers and everybody. And I'm waiting for your help for everybody. Thank you very much.